Today I would be starting with the new chapter, that is the accounting ratio. Before I would start with the meaning of ratio, ratio analysis, types of ratios, I would give you a very simple example for you all to understand why ratio analysis is very important. Whenever we express the financial statement in monetary value, it is very meaningless. Unless and until we compare two figures and find out the relationship between them, it does not convey a right meaning. Let me give you an example. Say, for example, Mr. X has a profit of rupees 1,50,000, whereas Mr. Y has a profit of rupees 1,80,000. Now, if I ask you who has more profit and whose company is working in a better way, all of you would answer Mr. Y because his profit is 1,80,000. But now I will give you another case where Mr. X capital invested is rupees 10 lakh and Mr. Y's capital invested is rupees 15 lakh. Right? So now I will ask you which is working more efficiently. So Mr. X, 1,50,000 is the profit divided by 10 lakh into 100, that is 15%. Mr. Y, 1,80,000 divided by 15 lakh into 100, which is 12%. So now what do we understand? That it shows that Mr. X has earned rupees 15 for every 100 of capital invested, whereas Mr. Y has earned 12% for every 100 of capital invested. So which is better now? Mr. X. This is the reason ratio analysis is very important. Let me give you the meaning of ratio. Write down in your notebook. The relationship between two figures expressed as percentage is called a ratio. Full stop. It is found by dividing one number into the other. As I explained you the example, what did we do? We divided the profit by the capital and got a particular percentage. This is what is meant by ratio. Next, write down meaning of ratio analysis. Ratio analysis is a study of relationship among various items or group of items in financial statements. Ratio analysis is nothing but we study the relationship between various items which is present either in a profit and loss account or in a balance sheet. Clear? Next, let's take down objectives. To locate the weak spots of business. When we find out the relationship between various items in our company, it is very easy for us to know which are the weaker spots in our business and which needs improvement. To provide deeper analysis of liquidity, solvency, profitability of the business. To provide information for making cross-sectional analysis. What does it mean? What does cross-sectional analysis mean? It means comparison with those firm which is of the similar nature. Next point, to provide information for making time series analysis. Time series analysis is nothing but making comparison of the firm's present ratio with that of the past ratio. So this ratio analysis helps us in cross-sectional analysis as well as time series analysis. Next point, to provide information useful for making estimates and preparing the plan for future. Ratio analysis also help us to predict the future and what changes are needed to be done. Next, we move on to the advantages of ratio analysis. Helpful in analysis of financial statement. So ratio analysis is very helpful in analyzing the financial statement, be it the bankers, the traders, the shareholders. With the help of ratio analysis, they know what is the state of the company or the financial health of the business. Next, simplification of accounting data. The accounting data is very simplified. We need not have long procedures to be followed. It is very simple in the form of ratios. Helpful in comparative statement. As I've already told you that ratio analysis help us to compare the present with the past. So it is helpful in comparing either financial efficiency of the same industries in different years or selected firms in the same industries. Then helpful in locating weak spots of business, same as what was explained in the objective. Helpful in forecasting, it helps us to forecast the future and do the changes which are needed. Estimate about the trend of the business. It reveals the trend of cost, revenue and operation profit and other important facts. Function of ideal standards. Ratio helps in establishing ideal standards of the different items of the business. When we compare the actual ratios calculated at the end of the year, we can easily find out the efficiency of the business. For example, the standard ratio of current ratio is 2:1. But when we compare it with the financial statement, we may either get it more or less. If it is better, which means the company is working efficiently, and if it is less, it means it is not working efficiently. Effective control. Ratio analysis help you analyze liquidity, solvency, profitability of the business and helps in the control of the business. Study of financial soundness. With the help of ratio analysis, it is very easy for us to say whether the business is working efficiently or not. So these are the advantages of ratio analysis. Next we move on to the limitations of ratio analysis. False accounting data gives false ratio. Sometimes what happens is the business gives us the false information, that is the false balance sheet or profit and loss account. In such case, the ratio which we will find out will not be true. Comparison is not possible if different firms adopt different accounting policy. In case of cross-sectional analysis, what happens is we compare the firms having the same type of business, but it is not possible because sometimes both the companies may follow different accounting policies. For example, one may follow straight line depreciation method, another may follow written down depreciation method. It becomes less effective due to the price level changes. Price level over the years goes on changing, therefore the ratio of various years cannot be compared. Say for example, if a company sells in 2019 a machine for 10 lakh and in year 2025 for 15 lakh, it is said that the sales is increased, but that is not the case. The sales have not increased, the price of the machinery has increased. Ratios may be misleading in the absence of absolute data. As explained in one of the example before starting the theory part, we are given the profit of X and Y, and only when the profit was given, we assumed that Y was working more efficiently. But later when the capital was given, we realized that X was working more effectively. So what happens is, if one of the data, say for example in the example which I had explained before, if capital was not mentioned, we had predicted wrong. Limited use of single ratio. The business should not only rely on a single ratio, it should study several connected ratios before reaching a conclusion. For example, the current ratio of the firm may be quite satisfactory, whereas the quick ratio will not be satisfactory. Window dressing. Sometimes what happens is the company will provide us wrong information to cover up their bad financial position. So that is, they provide a better position that the one really exists. They change their balance sheet in such a way that the important facts and truth may be concealed. Lack of proper standards. The circumstances in all the firm may not always be the same. For example, we have fixed the standard current ratio as 2:1. Sometimes the firm may take a credit from the banker because they may need it. In such case, what happens? The current asset will reduce. So one of the major disadvantage of ratio analysis is that they lack proper standards. Ignores qualitative factors. Ratio analysis is mainly dealt only with the quantitative measurement of the performance of business. It ignores all the qualitative factors. Say for example, a credit may be granted to a customer on the basis of certain ratio of his business, but what they ignore is his character, his behavior is ignored, which is important and should be taken into consideration. Ratio analysis are not advocate for proper conclusion. Ratio analysis is only used to know the profitability of the business, whether it's favorable or unfavorable. The analyst has to carry further investigation to come to a proper conclusion and judgment. Last one, effect of personal ability and bias of the analyst. Sometimes every analyst has different ways to calculate ratio. Some will take profit only before tax, some will take before tax and interest, some will take after tax or interest. So it is different way the analyst see it and takes into consideration. So this again is a major. Next, let's see the classification of ratios. Write the 4 types. The first one is liquidity ratio, second one is solvency ratio, third is the activity ratio or turnover ratio, fourth is profitability or income ratio. So write the first one, liquidity ratio. Take down the meaning. Liquidity refers to the ability of the firm to meet its current liabilities. Full stop. The liquidity ratios, therefore, are also called short-term solvency ratios. Full stop. These ratios are used to assess the short-term financial position of the concern. Full stop. They indicate the firm's ability to meet its current obligation out of current resources. Next line. Liquidity ratio includes 2 ratios. Under that first one, current ratio or working capital ratio. Second one, quick ratio or acid test ratio or liquid ratio. The first ratio, that is the current ratio, working capital ratio. This ratio explains the relationship between current assets and current liability of the business. So the formula will be current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liability. Write down current liability will include current inventories which will exclude loose tools, spares and stores. Then we have trade receivable which will include bills receivable and sundry debtors less provision for bad debts. Then we have cash and cash equivalent, that is cash in hand, bank, check, drafts in hand. Then we have short-term loan and advances. Then we have current assets which will include only prepaid expense, accrued income and advance tax. Then we have current liabilities which will include short-term borrowing including bank overdraft. Then we have trade payables which will include bills payable and sundry creditors. Then we have current liabilities, that is current maturities of long-term debt, interest accrued on borrowings, income received in advance, outstanding expenses, unclaimed dividend, calls in advance, etc. Then we have short-term provision, that is provision for tax and proposed dividend. Just take down the note. The ideal current ratio is usually 2:. There is a formula for working capital, that is nothing but the current asset minus the current liability. Next, take down the second type of ratio, that is the quick ratio or acid test ratio or liquid ratio. Write down the meaning. Quick ratio indicates whether the firm is in the position to pay the current liabilities within a month or immediately. So the formula is quick ratio is equal to quick assets or liquid asset divided by current liabilities. Again, liquid assets includes current assets minus inventories. Inventories is nothing but stock, minus other current asset, that is prepaid expenses, advance tax, etc. Next, take down the note. The ideal quick ratio is 1. Let's solve the first problem. Calculate current ratio from the following. In the problem, we have been given working capital, that is 45,000, total debt 1 lakh, long term debt 70,000. So the solution is current liabilities. How do we find out? Total debt minus long term debt. Why? Because we take into consideration in current liability only short term borrowing. So total debt is 1 lakh minus long term debt is 70,000. We get current liability as 30,000. Then working capital we know. So what's the formula for working capital? Current asset minus current liabilities. Working capital we already know is 45,000. Current asset we need to find out. Current liability is 30,000. So we get the current asset how? Mathematics. 45,000 plus 30,000, that is 75,000. Now it's easy for us to find out the current ratio, that is current asset by current liability, which is 75,000 divided by 30,000, which is 2.5:1. What is the ideal ratio? 2:1, which means in this sum it is better than the ideal ratio. Next, move on to the next problem. Calculate current ratio from the following. Working capital is given, trade payable is given, and other current liability is given to us. So how can we get the total of current liabilities? It is trade payable plus other current liability, which is 1,80,000 plus 20,000, that is 2 lakh. What's the formula for working capital? Current asset minus current liability. What is the working capital? 6 lakh. We don't know what is current asset. We know what is current liability. So what do we get from the problem? Current asset, that is 6 lakh plus 2 lakh, that is rupees 8 lakh. Now how can we get the current ratio? Current asset by current liability. What is current asset? 8 lakh divided by 2 lakh, which is 4:1. Clear? Let's move on to another problem. Calculate current ratio from the following. Again we have working capital, we have current assets, we have inventory, including the loose tools. So does loose tool come in our current asset? No. Inventory comes, and we have current asset total, that is 8,40,000. Clear? So how can we find out current liability? Working capital is equal to current asset minus current liability. We know the working capital, that is 6,30,000. We know current asset, that is 8,40,000. We don't know current liability. So current liability will be 8,40,000 minus 6,30,000, which will be 2,10,000. Now inventory includes loose tools. So what will be the total current assets? Current asset is equal to current assets minus loose tools, right? Total of current asset is 8,40,000. How much is loose tools? I forgot to mention loose tool is of the value 1,05,000. Okay, so it is 1,05,000, which will be equal to 7,35,000. Next, how do we get the current ratio? Current asset by current liability. What is current asset? 7,35,000 divided by 2,10,000, which is 3.5:1. Clear? Problem. From the following, compute the current ratio and give the comments on it. We have been given non-current investment, current investment, inventories, trade receivable, trade payable, long-term borrowing, short-term provision, cash and bank balance. This is the formula. Current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liability. So what do we have in current assets? Please look at the problem. Non-current investment, do they come? No. Next is current investment. But current investment, yes, current investment plus Does inventory come? Yes, but it does not include loose tools, so we will deduct that. Then we have trade right here. Exclude loose tools. Then we have trade receivables, that will include both the debtors and bills receivable. Payables, that is debtors plus bills receivable. Then we have the cash and bank balance. So what is the current investment? 40,000. Then we have inventories, that will be 2,80,000 minus 50,000. You can show it separately as a separate note also, not an issue. Then we have trade receivable, that is 1,60,000 plus 20,000, and then we have cash and bank balance, that is 30,000. So the total of current assets will be 4,80,000. Next we have current liabilities. What and all will be included? Trade payables, that is creditors and bills payable. Then do we have long term borrowing? No, we have short term borrowings. Which is provision for taxation. So trade payables will be 1,20,000 plus 10,000. Then we have short term borrowings, and we also have short term provision. $10,000, sorry, 20,000, which will be 2 lakh. So current ratio will be 4,80,000 divided by 2 lakh, which is equal to 2.4:1. So write the comments. An ideal current ratio should be 2:1, which denotes that the current asset of the business should be at least twice of the current liabilities. Here the current ratio is 2.4:1. Therefore, it is said that the financial position of the company is satisfactory. We'll be doing the remaining sums tomorrow. Thank you.